Going through, uh, uh, there was a stream yesterday that someone put me on the spot to do. I'm not sure why. I'm sure there's some sort of shoe drop later on. But anyway, um, one of the people who was in it had an unusual channel name show up because it's based on whatever Google name you used originally. And then I track it down and find, oh, it's a specific YouTube channel. And then I see the video referred to about those researchers. And I had to listen to it. And it's like, but one of the comments that was left in that chat from 2017, I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure what year. Was something I'm going to have as the title of the video. So let's cover that really quickly. Now, why am I beating this dead horse? Because people keep trying to resuscitate it. Trump said, quote, not quote, this is my best interpretation of a Trump statement, that 120,000 people had made requests for, or bought tickets for, or tried to get tickets for, or whatever, a rally in 2019 where he was going to be, doing a rally, and it's supposed to be the Amway Center in Orlando or something like that. Anyway, it's the one that has 120,000 claimed. And he said there's tens of thousands that were trying to get in. And the number of people who actually showed up for this rally was 19,792, which literally means he added a 1 to it. So instead of 120,000, it was 20,000 people. That's still a ridiculously large number of people for a political rally. I mean, seriously, name a politician you would actually go through the effort of showing up at a location that can hold 20,000 people, because that was the max capacity of the building. That means there was 208 empty seats and he couldn't fill the place entirely. Well, we can use that as a rallying cry or an anti-rallying cry. Drone footage image was used to lie about the number of people waiting outside. It was actually a Toronto NBA championship that was won by a team called the Raptors. So let's review. Everyone lied about this, or did they? Trump said that he had 120,000 requests on the internet for doing a rally, trying to get tickets or something like that, some arrangement like that. Let's just leave it vague like that because he did. Yeah, that's literally very likely. Not kidding. So I don't think Trump was lying when he said that. When he said there was tens of thousands left outside, that might have been an assumption. It definitely wasn't necessarily the fact. Next, I can't find any images outside the Amway Center that show anything like that because there were 208 empty seats that someone could have gone into and didn't. If it was literally tens of thousands of people waiting outside, there should not have been any empty seats. It's a 20,000 seat approximately capacity building for fire and safety reasons. Or, well, actually an arena. But 19,792 is the number of people that went through the turnstiles. Officially, there's 208 empty seats. Now, wait a minute. Well, the city of Orlando, you might be able to find a picture of the Amway Center when Trump was in it. You can go look it up. You have to look up the one that isn't faked. That's the problem. Everything about any claim made about Trump, and most of the time by Trump, is going to have at least one lie in it. It is absolutely a pattern of behavior Trump is guilty of. But the images I'm seeing that faked the number of people in the arena or outside of it, the ones depicting the throngs trying to get in, which is much more dramatic sounding, almost all of them are fake, but there are a couple of pictures. So was it really filled to only 19,792, or was it over capacity slightly? You'd have to see images from within it that aren't faked. Again, Trump required anybody covering any of his rallies to make it look good by narrowing the shots and not doing a wraparound view showing all the empty seats. He was notorious for having empty seat areas for a simple reason. He would make these announcements for these locations and people would make plans to get there. And if you're not aware of it, a lot of the time Donald Trump would start a rally early so people weren't able to get in time. or it was late, or some other damn thing would happen, or it was a location where it was hard to get to. That's actually the reason a lot of them weren't completely full. Some of them were half empty because people just didn't bother showing because there wasn't that much support in the area, and a lot of people came in from other areas because he's a famous person, they wanted to see him. So you could have overcapacity, half capacity, all sorts of things happen. But out of 20,000 seats, only maybe 200 are officially empty. But the very few number of pictures I see don't. I mean, he said afterwards, I only saw a few empty seats in an arena that can hold 20,000 people, and he assumed there had to be tens of thousands outside. But again, the only images you can find don't show anybody outside, and the images I see of people inside, you see standing room only in a couple of areas. So I'm very sure it was over capacity, not under capacity. But officially, the turnstiles, meaning people didn't jump the turnstiles, showed 19,792. He's not president anymore. We can actually discuss this and be rational about it. Depending on what political bias you're dealing with, someone is going to lie about this because we've caught everybody lying about it. I'm pretty sure if they said that there was 19,000, no, there was only 200 seats empty, but I can't see any. I mean, yeah, Donald Trump did fake a lot of his numbers because he was extremely oversensitive about it. It was like being, self-conscious about how big his hands are or whatever. But I don't think it was probably overcapacity. I just think it's funny that both sides literally lied about this or told the part of the truth they wanted to be accurate. Somebody fills a capacity of a location to 99%, almost exactly 99% of its capacity, to the point that maybe the framework is creaking. That's impressive, and it's in the state he occupied most of the time, so that's totally expected. So, but the 120,000 people requesting it, but it being exactly 20,000 capacity for the building, seems suspicious. But I have no doubt that he could probably have a counter up saying 120,000 people said they would definitely show up. In a state like Florida, there's plenty of people to do that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that happened. Yeah, I'm a liberal saying that he probably wasn't really lying or falsifying anything about it. The only thing that I see is people falsifying the number of people outside waiting to get in. Now, the reason I'm saying it's very likely or absolutely fake, and some of them are confirmably images of like the Raptors winning the NBA championship in Toronto and that sort of thing, or at least a throng of people celebrating in the streets. If you're not aware of it, a building that has a 20,000 seat capacity is going to have a large parking lot either outside or adjacent to it. Throngs of people occupying the streets are considered bordering on a riot and would be considered a requirement that you have to pay extra. Trump is also notorious for not paying his fucking bills to any city, county, or state because, he doesn't care. I'm sure he let a lot of deals slide when he was a mogul in New York. If there was 10,000 people outside of that building, somebody would have taken a photo that was authenticatable. I'm sure there is a few of them. I've seen a few pictures that look authentic. But again, I can't tell. That's for you to decide. Is this something worth looking up? Yeah. So I'm going to include one Google search below for Amway Center Orlando Rally Trump 2019. And you can go look at the pictures and you can decide. We're way past all of this. If you want to believe one thing or another and you're biased, I'm not talking to you. I mean, on a real level, the city says it was filled to 99% capacity. Most of the images show people standing it shows that it was probably over capacity. Do you really believe Trump supporters wouldn't jump turnstiles if they wanted to? I mean, it's at that point that there's no reason to argue that the place wasn't just full. But he said, I can see a few empty seats, one or two. So that's almost like him trying to be, showing some humility almost. By Trump standards, that's showing humility, even if it's fake humility. And yeah, on the internet, you can get 120,000 people who are following somebody who got almost, but not quite, half the votes to get elected. Definitively. Now I'm going to cover the researchers video. Someone was trying to use the videos I upload to find out where I live and where I am, and vaguely threatening me, and researchers researching each other. This is on a channel that just had a video up from a long time ago, and I want to address this because this is something that happens every time I research a subject if I step on the wrong toes, which means I'm going to research it more and aggravate them more and give them more false information. I don't tell people my location most of the time. I'm not currently telling people what city I'm in. Telling people you live in Portland is like saying you're on the moon someplace. Finding them is almost impossible. And I love the people who went out of their way to try to find out where I am and almost but not quite got it exactly right, and then immediately said I had to be someplace else because they wanted to convey some opinion about me, like he lives at a homeless shelter, or he lives in a storage unit, or he lives in literally a wrecking yard, or he lives in the city dump. Instead of admitting you couldn't find out where I was, and the one or two people who really did find me, who chose to just do a selfie picture and say, "I found you. You're an Easter egg. I'm not going to tell anybody where I found you." Never mind that they found me at a location that I never went to again, or I may have gone to. One or two people really did track me down. I'm willing to state this now. And this happened coincidentally with same research subject, people who were researching the Las Vegas shooting. I had to deal with people randomly showing up who really did find me. One of them found me and messed with me for something unrelated. I haven't really brought it up, but I kind of brought it up. It might have been because I criticized Pooh Bear in China, aka the president of the Chinese government, who's basically put in place by the communist regime. I was visited by somebody who was very likely doing this on behalf of the Chinese government, either independently or maybe literally one of their little paid shills that does this in every country. Every country that exists, if a Chinese national can live in, that can be paid off by the government to go screw with people to make sure that they don't criticize them. I mean, really, that's literally it. And other people who then try to counter it. I'm not involved in their BS. I was just criticizing the Chinese president for being angry about Winnie the Pooh. And that might have gotten a visit. Well, that sounds paranoid. Yeah, that's the point. And now we're going to get to the next thing. Why would someone claim that they can find you when all you're doing is pointing out that it wasn't a machine gun that was used in the Las Vegas shooting? Number one, what they're referring to as a machine gun noise is a helicopter, quasi-helicopter noise that is caused by the Wi-Fi function in a GoPro. Next, the machine gun noise that has any merit is actually Stephen Paddock firing a very poorly regulated device that makes it sound like a machine gun, and it operates a lot like one if you're shooting a crowd. Next thing is the presumption there had to be invisible attack helicopters. The black helicopter meme comes up at this point. People, these fake researchers, and dealing with them going bizarrely out of their way to try to intimidate you. And this happened to the other uploader, Secret Safe with You. And he had to deal with this, just like all of us did. It got really crazy. The go-to behavior when you correct somebody on their error is they want to follow you home and make sure you know that you're not safe. Like Pooh Bear in China, or a group of people supposedly opposing him that also seem to want to do this because I criticized their entire belief system. Because I criticize every religion and belief system, including the ones I have, because you have to accept criticism. Otherwise, you don't deserve to be given respect. It's amazing how consistent this is. If you have been stalked on the internet for simply stating that you could show that someone made a simple mistake, give me a thumbs up. I'm not asking for it normally, but I'm doing it now. You don't even have to comment. I'm pretty sure this happens to everybody. Cyber stalking is a big problem. But anyway, yeah, the Trump claim versus the Trump reality in one occurrence here does appear to be subject to interpretation, and it probably indicates one of the few times Trump is not really guilty of actually lying, maybe. But again, you have to look that up, don't you? Links below in the description. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck.